Okay, that was fun. All right. So, as I was explaining earlier, what I wanted to do is cover a few of these assignments. Since some of you are here, here we go. I gave you one already. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna hit something. My trusty cardboard box. I live out of a cardboard box. Radical. Oh, you're out. Why are you out? Your file's out.
I was wondering if I send you an attached copy, if you find it easier for you to print it out without your email.
I'm old school. It gets easier this way sometimes. Renee?
I think you can still print out and attach.
I do. I do both.
Okay.
So I can look and I know how to transfer attachments, but for my brain and my life and the complications therein,
Yeah, it's better.
I need to touch things and smell things and color code them and everything. I have sticky tape notes in my bedroom. No, I don't. But it is how I function. All right, so one of our earlier assignments was we were talking about cesareans. I know it's not the okay. I'll give you a break because Kalindi came in and wanted to actually ask about preeclampsia and these issues.
Why am I getting front of the bus?
I'm actually giving you because that's how I express my loving feelings.
Well, thank you so much. Continue, please.
Mostly because I really do want to make sure and ensure that we do cover, like I've asked some of you guys to do assignments, and some have actually put some good time and effort into putting forward some good, good assignments. And some people just don't have time for it. So I can still see you. No, I'm sorry. I can still see you. So this is an opportunity where those who have done the assignment can share what you've discovered. And for some of these things, you will, as time goes on, what you've written now in your assignments, you're going to change your mind. In 10, 20 years, you're going to see something else. I don't know. But I've certainly changed my thoughts.
Yeah.
Always, I've changed my thoughts and opinions and my way of being over time.
Copy of these in my
There you, and that's a really good thing to do. And that's what I've done with this thing. And sometimes I'll go back and read my birth stories and go, oh, I wouldn't have done that. I would have changed. I wouldn't have been this way today. I hope I have learned from that. So similarly, some of you have written these assignments, and especially the one about the cesareans here in India, I believe is relevant. You have a high rate of VBACs and unnecessary cesareans. You will have an unusually large percentage of women coming to you with cesarean scars and having heaps of questions about what they went through and when they can have their babies again, and so on and so forth. So many things. So it's good to have an understanding of what you're dealing with. It's good to actually know and understand a few things. As an example, Kalindi did come and pry me with a few questions regarding preeclampsia. And even with the questions that she's giving me, and she's quoting from a textbook that I mentioned, Tom Brewer's.
No, Miles.
But you also mentioned Brewer's, didn't you?
Brewer's diet, because that's
what I referred to.
Yeah.
But you went to Miles and you went somewhere else.
I went to Better Health or something.
Better Health. So she went to, it sounds like a regular healthcare government website, as well as Miles' midwifery book. So they gave very interesting different statistics. And Kalindi rightfully acknowledged, oh, well, it says this, but I don't get that. And I'm going, yeah, that doesn't exactly make sense, especially when you compare it this to this. So this is critical thinking. This is what research is. This is what you do when you research. And as a practicing midwife, you will always need to research. They're always going to throw something out of left field at you. And especially here in India, you know, it's super easy to dismiss all the crazy shit that comes your way until it isn't crazy, until somehow or other somebody did give birth to a cat in a village, also known as a very, very premature baby, right? So, yeah, someone came to me, actually, he's one of the subjuwellas here. He's one of the subjuwellas. I don't mind him, but not this guy. This guy's well educated, clearly. But no, he came to me as I was leaving the house. Geez, somebody in the village gave birth to a cat today. She had a cat. Please come, please come. But I was getting on a plane, so I couldn't. And I'd love to see a cat. So I am looking at Mavine's. I threw you the cesarean. I'm looking at Mavine's cesarean. You were asking about preeclampsia. Who wants to talk about what? Preeclampsia, 2 on preeclampsia. Okay, preeclampsia it is. I'm good at this, man. I could have been a judge, Dad. I could have. I could have handed down sentences in no time. I could have done it.
Outliers?
No. No, can you imagine that shit?
I can't. Like you're not allowed to have any outside input, you just what you put in front of.
And they knew shit, man. They would hear things all the time and get really frustrated. God damn it. Got to throw that out of court again. All right, preeclampsia. I'm going to get into screen sharing in a tick. I'm looking for my files. I'm looking. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I already opened this twice, haven't I? Okay, back to this. Okay, screen share. Okay, I'm assuming you all can see this, but you're all looking intently at the screen. So, all right. Eclampsia and severe preeclampsia. Oh, you're not going to play for me, are you? Oh, you're still not going to play for me. Why not? Oh, okay. Yeah, they spent a lot of time writing these words.
Have you read through this one?
No, I actually haven't read through it. So I'm gonna, anytime you want to pop in a question or stop me, you already did stop me. Actually, go ahead, ask me the question you asked me earlier.
Which one?
We started off with a notebook about the incident. You get quoted Miles and somebody and the better health.
Saying that.
Can you guys hear this?
80% of pregnancies show with symptoms of preeclampsia.
80% of pregnancies show with preeclampsia. That's from Miles.
No, this is from.
I'm sorry. This is from Better Health.
Show symptoms.
Show Better Health. It's a online. It's a healthcare thing.
And then the same statement was made that 15% of preeclampsia don't show edema.
Okay, so 80% of women present symptoms of preeclampsia. So I'll stop on that statement. Probably. Depends what we're talking about, yeah. So
Like swelling being so high.
exactly.
Pressure, predominance.
Exactly. My next question, and I was just starting to say exactly that to her. Wait a minute. So if anybody's got their Miles book open.
This is not Miles.
Better help us.
Should I start with Miles? Do you want to start with Miles?
No, no, no. You trained this old woman's brain. I swear I know what I'm doing. I swear I know what I'm doing.
I trust.
God, I don't know why you do. But, so, okay. So the government says, okay, now this is starting to, I mean, of course, it did make sense at the time. 80% of women present with preeclampsia. That's why my eyes closed.
Simpson preeclampsia. Can we start with Miles? I feel like we should start with Miles. 5 to 8% of hypertension, pregnancy hypertension results. No, 5 to 8% of pregnancies have hypertension, and 80% of these are preeclamptic.
Okay, 5%,
5 to 8.
5 to 8 presenting, having a high blood pressure.
Yeah.
And only 5% of that.
No, of 80 of that.
Of that 80% become positive for preeclampsia.
This is from Miles.
That's the Miles
Have
statement.
you got Miles? I almost bought Miles and then I started.
No, I didn't. I don't know. There's a stack of books here. And this is an interesting point
I
too.
actually went to reference, like I read and tried to read a lot, like from as many of the books that I've got on preeclampsia, not many of them had much different information.
Okay, so it's very interesting numbers. And it's very interesting how you can play around with numbers. So one statement is there, the one from the government statement. 80% of women show symptoms of preeclampsia. And I can say, yeah, probably true. Miles says 5 to 8% of women
Have hypertension.
have hypertension. And then 80% of them, they go on to develop preeclampsia. Okay,
Or have preeclampsia. I don't.
either have or develop. So a couple of, the first, so 3 signs of preeclampsia. Who can tell me 3 signs of preeclampsia? Yes.
High BP.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Protein in the urine.
Yep.
It's like we were.
Feeding edema. Okay, so we've got protein in the urine, high blood pressure, and pitting edema. What's high blood pressure?
When the
No, give me a number.
number, I don't know.
Anybody can give me a number.
Most books that I've seen or online anywhere, people would say 140 overnight.
Over 90.
90% of places I've read will say if you have 2 readings over 140 over 90, that's preeclampsia, you need to have a baby right now.
So
It's very dramatic.
you said 190
Interesting.
or the 90s was, you consider that high.
Well, then I jumped again to say, well, really, I want to focus, first off, I want to focus on the diastolic, the bottom number. So I was interested that actually all of you said 90 for the diastolic.
That's what you told me.
That's, well, I repeat, so there's different things. So in some books, they say 1, that's why I asked you, what is high blood pressure? And then you're asking me, what do you think? So when I'm looking at it, I'm looking at, as soon as I see 90 as a diastolic, I go, oh, wait a minute. Then I look at the systolic, the upper number. How do they relate? And then I'm stopping to think, then I could think, what just happened here? As I was discussing earlier with you, why would her blood pressure be up right now? But I don't overreact. I certainly wouldn't say she has preeclampsia or anything like this. If I saw it again, I wouldn't like it, but I'd be asking questions. And I would ask questions straight away. And we're focusing right now on blood pressure. So the funky thing about blood pressure is, number 1, how did you take it? Did you use that push button machine? It's never reliable. So you can't, you throw it, if you get a high reading, first time, I'll kind of throw it away. I'll wait for the blood to read. So just a skills thing. Once you do the blood pressure, you take that blood pressure and if you want to do it again, don't do it immediately.
Yeah.
Even if you got it wrong, don't try to pump her back up.
Yeah.
Let it go. Let the veins go back to normal, and then try it again. So usually I don't make a big fuss. If it was on the machine, I'd stop it and maybe I'd do it again. But I'd also have asked myself some questions. Did she walk up the stairs? Now somebody's telling me a story about somebody else and her blood pressure was so high. How did they take the blood pressure? Was she in a doctor's office? And it's actually known. It's a physiological known thing. Your blood pressure will go up when you enter a doctor's office. Keep this important piece of information in your mind when you transfer to a hospital.
Yeah, the anxiety.
Women's blood pressure will immediately go up. Yeah, and their ability to tolerate the pain threshold goes down. Yeah, so this is just a transfer phenomenon. So I'll get off. I'll do it again. I'll get off the pump and I'll get off the button and I'll do it manually. Take the blood pressure. If it stays at 90, we'll talk. Next symptom, urine analysis. So they go in, you get your urine stick. Having trace to +1 protein can be normal and common. +1 to +2 protein can be good serious signs of preeclampsia. Now you need to tell the difference. If you get the +1 or +2 protein, again, don't hit the panic button. Ask her to go back in, or maybe actually, especially nowadays, it's hard for me to get urine from people these days. It's hot. They come up these stairs. That by the time they get up to these stairs, there's no urine.
Well,
I give, oh, no, they show up with cups of water. They sit under the fan. You have to turn everything up full blast, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And I'm handing juice around, trying to get the urine up. And you still get these little droplets, and I have big buckets for urine, so I can give them a break. So you have to pay attention to everything. That's why I say, always think. Kalindi threw a couple of good, interesting, like I'm saying, always think and don't just assume you know something, and always be willing to have a new understanding or a new fresh look at something.
You might want a situation.
Yes, because I'm talking about the fact that women show up here and when we test them, their levels can be skewed because of the heat, because the blood pressure will go up. Because of the stairs, the blood pressure goes up, and the heat also will push the blood pressure up. We know the heat will give you more swelling.
And dehydrate you more.
And dehydrate you quicker. So if I catch the protein, and I do look at all the other little squares in that stick, that's why I pay the big bucks for the multi-sticks, I don't just look for protein in urine, I want to see everything else in there. If she has blood in the urine, it'll test positive for protein. So you look at all these things. So I will want to send her back. If I have concerns, I will want to send her back to the toilet, or the next time I see her, send her to the toilet and do a midstream clean catch. A midstream clean catch. Does anybody not know what that is? Okay, go ahead. Radhikun, tell Mavan what a midstream clean catch is.
Catch it while it's in the middle of it, going, you catch it.
And how do
Not the first drop,
Yep.
but in the middle.
Okay, so that's a midstream. That's midstream, you're right. What's a clean midstream catch? You got the midstream. Anybody else?
Catch it till the end.
You wipe walk from front to back once, and then again front to back.
All right, so to show you, I know one day I'll put this all in order, but I've been getting really, really good. Finally, I'm always talking about this. So, Apgars. There we go. Especially you want that.
So she couldn't remember what the other egg was on it.
Yeah. We're talking about vaginas, aren't we?
We're talking about cleaning your vagina.
Okay,
We're cleaning-
pretend this is a whole vagina.
We're having a vagina party.
I told you we have vagina problems, parties.
Like, yeah.
Vagina parties. So pretend. It is, it's all about vaginas. So, okay, hang on. I do wish there was actually the whole thing here. That's from your day. So this is the vagina, but vaginal opening. And up here is the urethra. I'm trying to look at the picture too, so I don't see it clearly. First thing you want to do is separate the labia. So you get the fingers there and the mother does. The mother separates her labia like this. And then exactly, Kalindi, you wipe down from front to back, throw it away or fold it over, wipe from front to back and throw it away. Then when it's time to pass urine, you pass some of the urine, you start to pass urine, leave the first few drops, let them drop into the toilet, and then catch the midstream as Radhikun was explaining. And then you discard the last bit. And then from this,
It's the analogy in Ayurveda is the snake. You never want to touch the snake's head or tail. So you always want to grab, like,
interesting.
yeah. So
Why can't every
When they
person
drink.
given tests?
Yeah,
We're doing like this.
this is how it's, yeah.
Like, you know, it.
That's if that is the proper way to do it. And frankly, that's the way if you're asking, if you're asking for a urine test, you might as well ask for it and get it done right the first time. Having said that, that means you've got to have all those wipes in the bathroom for everybody. So it was enough to have paper cups back in the day. Now we're all sharing the same.
Sure.
We're all sharing the same takeaway container, but don't worry, people. I clean up after everybody with alcohol and everything. I do. Don't worry. I said it before and I'll say it again. We're professionals.
Recycle. Save
Save the planet. We recycle everything.
I'm trying to keep it.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so that was the first thing. No, I was gonna refer to something Kalindi said too. Okay.
If you find protein in the urine the first time, then you go and actually do a midstream patch the second time to check they've got protein.
Yeah,
That's
so,
the end of
but I feel like, I feel like we covered that. So, but the next, you mentioned something else about salt
Well, that's because we were discussing, like, so you,
and drinking a lot.
yeah,
The real issue is about how much to drink.
what is considered plenty of water.
What's considered plenty of water, which is a really good question. I've never liked water. I don't, it's just not my thing. I'm an honest person. I'll live on a cup of coffee all day long, maybe two. And now here that I get into India and places like this, oh my God, you should just see what I'm looking at. Women who pick up their bottles and all like this. But it really no. So back in Australia, you only have to drink 1 or 2 liters a day. So a lot of us are thinking like this, 1 or 2 liters a day. I kind of think, 150 mil is fine for me
Oh my God.
in between the cups of coffee and the juice.
And vegetables.
Vegetables have water.
Water.
Vegetables.
Water.
I soak my vegetables in water.
Air contains water.
Air has water.
It's that way, it's.
No need to drink it.
Oh, you give my son a water now and pee for the next hour, just like strong.
See, there you go.
Processed.
With watermelon, well, these are other things too. So the point being is that it's a good question. I am fine. So I'm talking to people who are showing up here drinking 3 to 4 liters a day. And I hear that this is a good amount of water to drink.
I just went to the Ayurvedic doctor
I was just going to say,
and she says 4 liters.
that's what, yeah, Ayurvedic. So we have this with the Garbadon and we've been reading 3 to 4 liters a day. So Kalindi raises the question of taxing the kidneys.
It said, because Preeclampsia affects the kidneys.
Yes.
So if you're telling somebody to drink plenty of water. And the kidneys filter your water, then you're.
And you're
destroying-
having
making
what?
your kidneys
What else are you
worse.
having? What's the other symptom that's showing up? If you keep drinking and it's, your kidneys can't,
Dehydration.
your kidneys can't deal with it, where's it going?
Swelling,
What?
edema, swelling,
Edema.
edema.
And
Swelling.
frequent urination.
But that, I'm saying, she won't do that so much as, actually, she won't frequent urine. She will get the pitching edema. So this is what we're looking, so this is the vicious cycle. So when Clindy asks me this question, and it's a curious question. So back in the day when I'm really studying this, when I was really studying these topics, I had just come from, well, in a handful of years, I had left Hawaii, moved across the United States, which is a big country, so things change from what things and cultures and attitudes and diets and weather change from the west coast to the east coast. And then a couple more hopscotch steps, and then you end up in Australia when I start to research this. So 1 to 2 liters of water is a lot of water. And we're also looking, it's not an issue for us. This crazy weather here is not our problem. We are looking at the liver. And at this time also, it was said, and I'm not sure if this has changed, and I would love it if someone could tell me if this has changed. Again, I mentioned that we have talked about toxemia. Preeclampsia, previously it was known toxemia. And it was defined, we did not know what caused toxemia. We never knew.
Yeah,
I am not aware if we've discovered a cause. So we're still back at the beginning. But at the time, they were pointing to the finger at the liver. But Kalindi brings up these questions to me. And so, okay, I have a couple of questions from that one little sentence, a little comparison that she brought to me. Bunch of things come up. High blood pressure. What's a high blood pressure? One question, and that's all. No, but that's just, I'm just giving an example of how many questions just got thrown on the
Isn't
table.
that also, okay, yeah, we're asked, sorry, yeah, keep going.
So meaning that, and we've thrown out a number of numbers, right? I threw out a number, which I probably shouldn't have said it so flippantly, 190 over 90, which is something I have seen. And then she just kept climbing, our old beloved darling,
My,
the one who, our what is it? The dance? What did she do? Zumba.
oh, they're so giving, we all know who these people are now.
Doesn't matter. At least I know these
My
guys.
question.
Yeah, yeah.
On the blood pressure is, doesn't it? I feel like I remember Jackie saying that. Blood pressure was also like, as a midwife, you're very personal to the client you're looking after, and blood pressure can be the same. Some people naturally have a resting blood pressure that is higher.
Yes,
Most
yes, yes.
this was before.
Exactly. That's why that's part of your antenatal care. So we do get a normal range for the individual. Now, if I keep checking somebody and finding them, very good point too, and everything is, I just can tell you story after story. But like I always have 90 over 60 in my youth, 90 over 60, 90 over 60. So if I suddenly show up with 75, 80 diastolic, I'm going to be concerned. I'm going to have concerns about that, and I'm going to pay attention at the next few meetings. What's happening, and ask questions. What's going on in your life? How's life? Look at the diet, stuff I do. Now, this other person is doing 140 over 90. And, she's an active woman. She's a strong woman. She has kids, which is part of, she's running around. She's a young thing. She's no excuse for having unhealthy, there was no excuse for it that I could see. She goes, and then, she just keeps pushing up. 185 if I'm lucky. She sits at 185, and the whole time she is high. That's her normal. And all I can say is she continued to be normal. I did have another woman. Again, this is an issue. You.
I give birth to my preeclampsia before we talk about it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Name your preeclampsia. But you name it. I had a woman who had a lot of kids. She was having her seventh baby. And the one before that was a set of twins. So she's, this is an issue you have with grand multiples. What's a grand multip? Grand multipara. A mother who's on her fifth or more pregnancies.
Oh,
She becomes a grand multip.
just when, do you count twins as a part, like, are they considered to be one?
One pregnancy.
Okay.
And then parity, then you ask something else, right? Yeah, hang on, I may have it back to front. Look that one up. More than 5 children. Births, it must be the birth. Yeah, so once you've given birth like this, you do kind of run down a bit more. So both these women and myself presented or had moments of supposed high blood pressure. What I presented with when I went up to 85 diastolic, for me, that was high blood pressure. Nothing came of it. Nobody pursued it. The other two were serious. One did go up to, I think she got over 110. You think you remember hearing that?
I got to 110.
You got to 110. Crikey. And I just had to tell this mother who did must have been was high. I just remember the 110. And no, not today at all. I just remember seeing it and having that she's one of the ones I had to go, listen, I need you to have your baby, and I need you to have your baby now, or you're going to the hospital. I have to take you to hospital, so please have your baby. And she did. The other one, oh my God, it's so long ago. It's so long ago. I do know we didn't do anything. I do remember the twins ran off with something. There are kids everywhere. One of the twins grabbed something off my table and ran away with it. And nothing came of it. She had her baby and blood pressure dropped, but I did do that. I gave her medicines, blue and black cohosh, by the way. So, and when I say blue and black cohosh, I'm referring to the herbs, not the homeopathics. And they were tinctures. Again, this is another reason why I prefer the tinctures. They're alcoholic and they go quickly down, absorbed. So, what is high blood pressure? Discuss that, move along. Later, I did find a good presentation such as this about how the heart works, how blood pressure works. And I think that would be very, very helpful to look at and understand what we're looking at. And what we were, when Plindy and I were discussing, because we start getting down to the nitty gritty, what organ is being affected here? Is it the liver of my day, or is it the kidneys of this day? Or are we just getting confused between the extreme heat and humidity of Mayapur compared to what I was learning about in regular humidity? Hawaii is humid. It's not dry. It's a humid place. And tropical medicine is a whole field on its own, by the way. Are you aware of this? Tropical medicine is a field all on its own, based on countries like this, are environments like this that are tropical. Look that up. It means the humidity. It means where you are in relationship on the Okay, now we talk about the flat planet or the round planet. Oh my God, just kill me.
It's all, regardless of whether you believe it's flat or round,
It's,
still have altitude.
there's altitude, there's
Still
stuff
have
going,
altitude.
there's stuff going on in there. So we quickly start to discuss, what are we looking at? I wanted to look at a biochemist. I want to know somebody who's good with chemistry and biology. So what's happening right now? In tropical medicine, what does it mean?
Be a biologist, and I feel like we dabbled in chemistry.
This is what I mean. If we can, so I think if you really, really want to have an answer to this, if you presented with preeclampsia, something went wrong with you and you birthed at home, but you were in a high risk category, but you survived. I'm concerned, my other people, I'm concerned they survived, but nonetheless, I would like to know as good midwives is, but I'm one of those anal people, that detective people, I like to go deeper and deeper and deeper. So, but you should know, try to go deeper. If you can't go deeper, then ask questions of somebody else who knows somebody that can. And that's why I want to come together and discuss these things in your assignments in a group, so that those who did research stuff can throw out information and the rest of us can go, hang on, let's look, let's think. Maybe you go, or maybe you know someone and you come back. You have personal experience. So it'd be really good to hear how you felt. You already had 2 perfectly decent home births. One, because I was there. Clearly. God, I'm bad. But you had perfectly normal pregnancies and births without issue. I take it. This is what I'm getting. Exactly right. Please be our case study. So I have questions of you. When did you first think something was wrong?
30-ish weeks, 30, 32.
What was the first sign? What did you notice that made you ask questions?
Oh no, this one trying to catch it. Oh, look at you.
Go on, go on.
The high blood pressure.
High blood pressure. That was your first indication that something was
Like
wrong.
having headaches and seeing spots. And then being like, oh, I should check my blood pressure, which I have, checked. No matter.
So you were doing your blood pressure. Harini is a, can I say you're a practicing midwife? You've attended births, but you've been the primary caregiver. Okay. So Harini does have this background. She has had her own babies at home, and the last 2 were on her own. But of course, we're talking about this last pregnancy, so it doesn't count. I keep trying to explain this. But all right, so you're doing your own blood pressure. How are you doing it? With a button.
Yeah.
And you said, so you're doing it, how often would you be doing this?
While I'm pregnant, just
Yeah.
every few weeks.
Every few weeks, you just
Yeah.
decided to do it,
But I know my normal.
right?
110/7. Oh.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Okay. So, and you said 2 things. You started to get a headache and something,
Seeing spots. Seeing spots.
seeing spots before your eyes. Tell me something about the spots. What were they like?
Kind of like if you stared at like a light and then like looked away and it's just like
Got it.
16 stars. Didn't last long, wasn't like a big concern, but enough to be like, I've never
That
had
was
that
that.
before.
Okay. And then you did your blood pressure and it was,
So it started climbing. So at around 30 weeks, 130/80, right? And then a week after that, it's 140/90. And then a week after that, it's 150/100. And So always, also like, not after climbing stairs or anything.
Yeah, you did it at home.
Did it at home, and like, there's nothing stressing me out.
Yeah, yeah.
I take it inside. Okay, let me lie down some more for another 30 minutes and I'll take it again. And it's the same thing. Well, like you just staying happy.
I hope you guys all heard that. That was interesting that she was lying down and then she'd get up and do it, you know, would lie down for half an hour and then get up again and take it again and find out it
Like
was
it's
the
not a
same.
one-off.
It wasn't a one-off thing. She would do it one and then half an hour later do it again. And in these other times that you did it after the first, you know, did your vision get worse? Did your headaches get worse?
As the weeks progressed, it was just other symptoms then started happening. So because it kept on, the blood pressure was high, then I was watching for other things. So taking the dipsticks, and then there was no protein.
Oh, okay.
And then there was trace, and then there was +1, and then there was +2.
Oh, and were you doing clean catches?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow, you're so textbook.
It was, so that's why it wasn't like, it wasn't a, what's it called, like, quick onset. It wasn't like a 1 day
Yeah.
thing. It was just like, oh, I have high blood pressure. Let me, drink some water and rest and, have less salt and
So that
Eat
brings
the,
my
like,
second question,
eat-
right?
beetroot or whatever they say apparently brings down your blood pressure.
He does, Brewers does love beetroot. You just said eat less salt. What's your next question?
My next question was if you're trying to hydrate, like get water into the cell, removing salt, sodium seems also counterintuitive.
Which is what Brewer says.
Yeah,
He says, do not limit your salt, add salt.
because salt, like not table salt, like.
Good salt,
rock
you want good salt,
filtered
you want good
sea
salt.
These salts, if they're not too processed, they actually draw water into the cells, which hydrate your body properly, which lowers your chances of anemia.
Yeah. So can I ask you, when you notice these things, what was the first thing you thought to do? Oh, you dropped salt out of your diet.
I didn't drop salt,
But
just
you-
not like, there's some like the process, like, I'm not having like a bag of chips or like.
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
like,
Yeah, okay.
trying to just eat normal and like whatever, eat beetroot and there's like. There was like Ayurvedic like supplement stuff, like just trying to like naturally bring it down.
Okay, good. Which didn't work. Okay, so you adjusted your diet. You cut out all the junk food and got serious about what you were putting in your mouth. You also turned to Ayurvedic medicines, knowing what you were looking at and trying to treat. What were you trying to treat? When you went to, I assume you went to someone, or did you just look it up?
I did, so while it was, when it got to the bad stage, that's when I spoke to you and then.
And then you had a
then I
baby
had-
that we had to name, we had to name the
I had to name.
preeclampsia. Should be whatever, and preeclampsia does.
Next time.
Next time. It is
Typically,
interesting.
increasing water and reducing salt seems really covered.
Well, the increase in the water is an interesting dilemma. So I don't have an answer for that. I hear your question. I hear your question fully.
Can I say something?
Please, yeah.
And Fry says just drink to your thirst. Not too much, not too little. Drink to your thirst.
Not bad. Same thing like salt to taste. Okay. No, that's interesting. Let's just see.
But my kids do that, and you don't know if you drink when you're thirsty, is it really enough? I mean, I hear now my kid drink with his hand over the, it's like he has a bottle.
Yeah, yeah.
So he drinks when he's thirsty, he goes over the,
Get and quenches his thirst and takes off again, comes back and quenches his thirst and takes off again. Yeah.
and now he's getting headaches, so I'm wondering.
And now he's getting headaches, right? But I guess when you get the headache, then address the issue, drink more. As soon as I get a headache, the next thing I'll do is drink more or go to sleep. close your eyes. But it's interesting that, again, because you do know, and you did look at it and you did try to address your diet. So what I really want to know at the end of the day is who got sick, the kidneys or the liver? Yeah, everybody's thinking, who got sick, the kidneys or
If you're
But it's
drinking
connected.
enough water, then
connected?
the kidneys.
Yeah, I would think-
Or something is connected.
Because liver cannot, if you're getting hidden, that's water retention.
Correct. So, yes,
Retention is to.
to get rid of the, yeah, to balance your fluids.
Right.
But the other thing, why was okay, so why does Brewers bring liver into it? What was his argument?
There's
Don't
some,
know
yeah,
what the connection.
Meaning,
What?
oh, because it used to be called toxemia. It used to be called toxemia. And the liver is responsible for removing toxins from the blood. And it's considered a disease of the blood.
They talk about the placenta.
Bang, bang, that's
so
it.
hold on, then it must, like, I argue that it's both then.
That's
I
what
argue
we're,
that
that's
if you're
what we
not
think, yeah.
hydrating properly, then your body is not able to remove toxins, which means your liver has to work harder, which means that there is more blood in your toxins, which means your liver is like, fuck you guys.
And it's more that since
It's like our
keep
clothes
working
change.
more, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, interesting that a cycle that just keeps going down. So it's, so I think we're coming to the conclusion that it's not one or the other, but both. And it's quite flexible according to time, place, and circumstance. Because you did address, how much water were you drinking per day, would you say?
4 liters.
You,
That's me drinking thirst. In the middle of like summer, like
Yeah.
40 degrees outside.
so you drank 4 liters of water, which was to thirst. To quench your thirst. You drank when you were thirsty. That's how thirsty you were. And you had the pity
No, I didn't until the end. So that was the last day that I really.
the last week.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't also like all the time. I had like a couple times where like one of my legs would swell, just one.
What?
And I would, and then it's also, everything is so conflicting because some places will
This
say,
is what I
walk
mean.
it out. Walk to get your blood moving,
Yeah.
and that will fix the swelling. And then
Oh,
some places say,
indeed.
lie down and elevate your legs.
Yes, 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 yes. This is all true too. One of the treatments for high blood pressure, and in fact, to avoid all of this altogether, is they say at least exercise enough to work up a sweat every day. That, yeah, work up a sweat every day, which of course I could do that lying in bed, man.
Right.
It's so odd. But it's so. Kalindi brings up these statistics that have me tongue-tied in the beginning. And which are very interesting statistics. And I get into what she's saying. And I go, well, that's not my experience. I don't have that. And the statistics that she was quoting in both these outlets are not my experience. I've shared my experiences, which are, I've had very few high blood pressures, very, very few. And only two that were mine that blew me out, that were of concern. And hearing about you, I'm aware of your story and I've been part of your journey. So I can take your experience and put it in with my statistics. And I make it is very important to collect your statistics, sit down in circles and groups like this and talk about what just happened. Kalindi pulls up a paper and throws out studies that only get me to ask more questions. That's the way it's supposed to be.
That's how I felt. I just had questions. It wasn't like.
Me too. You can
enough
see I've
for
got
me to be
questions.
Like, okay, yes, this is definitely a credit. So it's awful. I need to go and like get this baby out right now. It was just like, it's interesting. Let's.
And by the way, so at 35 weeks, did you say you got to 35?
32 record.
So you got to 36 weeks. And what happened at 36 weeks?
So at that point, my blood pressure was just constantly 150 over 100. Just anytime, 150 over 100. And then there was the swelling. Then I was
One side or both, on one or both sides?
both sides, everywhere. I was-
Everywhere,
Like,
okay,
Yeah, like swollen hands and swollen ankles and like just so, which I know very common in pregnancies with everyone.
yeah, but
I
you,
have had that before.
yeah,
I
but
had
you,
swelling.
yeah,
Also very hot. So then I'm like, maybe it's just hot. Maybe it's just Indian summer. Like you don't know. But then once you got to all of those collective symptoms all together and the +2 on protein,
on a clean couch,
Yes.
midstream.
that's when I wrote to you and I was because okay, so also because it was so early,
Yes, yes,
I was
yes.
like, well, what am I supposed to do about it? I'm 31 weeks, 32 weeks, 33 weeks. I can't like induce at home. It's too early.
Yeah,
Is it bad enough that I need to go to the hospital? Maybe, maybe not.
so do you know what one of the risks of preeclampsia are?
Seizure?
But another thing is premature labor,
Yes,
just thought I'd throw that in,
Yes.
keep going.
I do know that. So
I do now, she says.
Exactly. I was it proved.
Yeah, you proved it, which is what I want to point out later, yeah, keep going.
So, and then I told you that I had my mental breakdown.
Tell me about that, meaning,
Well, I spoke to you and said, I think I have preeclampsia. I'm only 36 weeks. So what do we do about that? Right? Is it bad enough? Now is it bad enough? Now that it got to this point. It wasn't before, now is it? If it is bad enough, what do we do? I'm 36 weeks. Can I have this baby at home? Do I need to go to the hospital? Do I need to go to the hospital like next week? Can I wait another week? Or do I need to go right now?
all decisions and choices were taken out of your hands.
So then I cried about it and I was like, before I was fine, I was like, okay.
Did you have a big cry about it?
So I had a big cry about it and I was like, I want this baby out. I don't feel good anymore. I feel like
Were you a little angry? What were you feeling?
I was angry and I was crying. Yeah. Before I was like, oh, it's fine. Like, or maybe it's not fine, but like I can wait another week. I can see if it gets better. I can see if it stays stable. But that day I was just like, no, now I don't feel safe anymore. I either feel like something's gonna happen to me or something's gonna happen to him.
Okay,
And I
so
want
for,
him out.
for people who don't know Harini, she's pretty mellow, she's pretty
I
calm.
am pretty.
She
laid
doesn't,
back. I don't care.
she does, yeah, basically, she doesn't care about things in life. No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. No, she's just a chill person. She's really chill and she doesn't overreact or get to things. So I ask her, that's why I'm asking her. Wait a minute, you had a break. She says I had a breakdown. Wait a minute, back up. You cried? Yeah, I cried.
Yeah.
I had a big cry. Were you angry? Yeah. Were you frustrated? Yeah. And she tells, this is what high blood pressure does, right? And of course, as you do this, what happens? Your blood pressure goes up. But it's interesting to note that Harini hit that wall. It's interesting to note that she did have, as she called it, a mental breakdown, which I call a release, a valve release. There's a pressure cooker, and we've been talking, you talked to me earlier before anybody arrived about shit. We have pressure cookers. And there's a point where the pressure cooker just builds up and the valve lets go and you just scream. Like that. It releases pressure and sometimes your blood pressure can come down. Sometimes you can stabilize. Sometimes actually you go into an emotional shock. And for a little bit of time, you can't follow your train of thought, which is what happens to me often in this group, FYI. So you lose track and you have something that happens in your body. When you release, you can also go into labor. So, and it's interesting, she hit that wall. She went into labor. Now you did talk, I don't remember everything. It was a short conversation and simple. pretty sure I was supposed to go over in the morning.
Yes, so I said, I'm concerned, then you're like, I'll come over tomorrow. I said, sweet,
Great.
I'll see you tomorrow,
I'll see you tomorrow.
cry, and then that's great.
You had your cry after you hung up for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. But this is how things show. Pay attention to how things evolve and present themselves to you. It's almost like carefully taking your clothes off to somebody or revealing something to somebody and getting used to what you're seeing, even when you can't see, if that makes sense, you know? So you went ahead at 30, you held on over a period of time, developing and worsening the symptoms of preeclampsia, toxemia, whatever, blood poisoning, another word. For 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks, and then have your epiphany and give birth at home at 36 weeks with dangerous, questionable high blood pressure. Yeah, you know the side effects, seizures. You don't like this. Nobody likes watching it.
I have watched that.
Yeah, sucks, eh? I can show you a Caesar of my daughter. Actually, I might. Anyway, and you had a healthy baby boy at home. When you gave birth, did you have headaches? Did you see spots? Were you drinking? Were you eating? How long was your labor? 5 hours, beginning to endish. I mean, beginning-ish to end. That we get, the end we get clear, the beginning is not so clear.
No, the beginning was clear.
On your
I have a
tape.
Cup in my water.
Okay, so, okay. When the waters broke, were they stained? Second stage, what was that like?
Huh?
Calm.
I was in the tub and it was just. It got really intense transition, like, I can't deal with this. And then I went in the tub and it like, slow down, it's calm. I didn't really feel any urge to push and I was angry and I was like, why is it taking so long?
We're back to that.
Is he? And then there was just one infection, so. I was like, oh.
And he's, how is he at birth?
Alert.
Alert.
Eyes wide open.
Okay. Yeah, you have a video of his birth.
It's like,
Is it possible to send it to me some way? Or where do you have it?
I have it.
She wants to show the class, so she's wondering.
Yeah, I'm quickly, let's try it next time
Okay.
and I'll wire this up.
He's born fully alert, eyes wide open. Right.
But did you feel any difference between further or to birth?
Good question.
They support them.
Ever since was like
So I was so concerned like that day before, that week before. But the second labor started, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
So you, at that point,
It's
you were
like,
relieved.
what has happened? I didn't have to make a choice. I didn't have to like induce at home or go to the hospital or.
The decision was made for you, you were
Because
taken
that's
care of.
My breakdown was like, if you're ready, please come. Like, just please like stop making us all wait for this to like get worse or get better, or like if it's the time, it's right, whoever is there listening to me, if it's you, please make it happen. And it did.
Does anybody have some questions or comments? Like Tapasia, do you have any thoughts? Oh, no, no, not you, not you, Mom. I am actually asking the professionals here. No, anybody have any, tell me, yeah. You don't know what to think.
Because it was early. Maybe if it was like 40 weeks or something, it's like, okay, well, I was gonna go into labor anyway, but. So is it just caused by the preeclampsia? And then we talked about this, you asked about his signs of maturity and everything, and he's 36 weeks and he was fine and breathing and happy, and he was small, which they say is a side effect of preeclampsia because you're placenta. So
Yeah, but
I
it's
don't know
also a
if
sign
that-
of being 36 weeks.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Sorry, guys, I'm only just now opening up the chat that's been here. Almost finished opening it. Help is, oh, okay.
Oh, helps it, right?
Also, what is our definition of preeclampsia? Kind of, as far as I know, the definition is these symptoms, pure and simple. Pure and simple, the combination of these symptoms, which in and of itself really doesn't explain anything. You clearly need more indeed. It's tough being pregnant in hot, yes, electrolytes. Like, okay, so yes, there's a big difference between drinking water and getting hydrated,
Yeah.
and that's where electrolytes come in
Yeah,
to help you, not just the tissues, not getting the fluids redirected towards your tissues, but where they need to be.
increases the level of cortisol.
Wouldn't you need enough salt? What is HELP
When-
syndrome? Oh, yeah.
Here, he can drink 5 liters, but not in drink. So
Sure, I've forgotten all about HELP. Yeah, so again, I forget what HELP is again. Divya, do you want to say?
So what I generally know, not that I have any experience with any of those, I generally know that health is where your liver is not able to process the enzymes. And usually what they say that if you have preeclampsia and it's very severe, it can be the HELP syndrome. That means your liver is not really able to work the enzymes, and they say that it's basically your red blood cells are reducing in amount, and something around that. That is what I know. So HELP syndrome is basically excessive preeclampsia, excessive hypertension that can be indicative of that the liver is not really functioning properly and the enzymes are not being processed very well by the liver itself.
Can you tell me what HELP stands for?
I think it was something on hemo,
Human
like
enzyme, liver,
No, it's like high something,
high enzyme.
like,
Oh, high enzyme, low platelet?
it's high something. Again,
it's something like that. So it's with the H stands for the red blood cells, the body reducing the amount of red blood cells, something with hemo, and I think it has 2 L's, which I don't know what they're for. I think one is for liver, something related to that.
It's hemolysis, elevated liver enzymes, low platelet.
Oh, low platelet. Okay.
Elevated liver enzymes and
Okay, so. I do remember reading HELP, about HELP when I was studying Tom Brewer. Again, who was a nutritionist back in the 70s, I think it was, when we were dealing, toxemia was the thing, it was the, the cesarean of the day. So he does mention this, he does mention the liver. We are discussing enzymes, low platelets, salt, kidneys. Yeah. Again, yeah, more questions. It still doesn't, I don't know about you guys.
Well, my question is, did you have any pre-existing conditions? Is there diabetes in your family?
I still have questions, like you say. I still don't know the answers. You have no precursors to this.
never had high blood pressure, like had a type normal, it's 110/70. It's not lower, it's not
Mm,
100, 90.
mm.
So we're looking at the body as a whole, we need to find out if there's anything
Yeah.
anything, like if she would help us.
So, okay,
Here-
so if I'm looking at you with this situation and I'd managed to get to you before you gave birth, what would I do?
Yes, that was my,
That's the question.
what would you have said that day if I had not given birth? Was it bad enough to?
How big were?
She
Something?
wouldn't.
It would throw me, I would monitor you, it
When
would
I
throw
actually,
me.
I would make you lie down and I would like be concerned.
I would be concerned for sure, and I'd ask you all the the shitload of questions I asked. Other than the birth story,
Yeah.
because we didn't have it. But I would have been talking to you about your diet, and really sitting down and looking at it. Looking at the beetroot and the pomegranate, all these kind of stuff, blood stuff, right? I'm looking at blood purifiers. Yep. I'll read that better and read it out in a minute. I would have done what you'd been doing, and I would have found what you found. Sat down, asked you what you wanted to do, maybe or maybe not, you would have expressed your concerns honestly and openly enough to cry right then and there, or wait for me to leave and then break down. I would have gone home. I would have left you with some information as we've discussed, you know, the diet, the da-di-da. And keep checking on yourself. I'd go home and start reading a lot. And then I'd be asking and reading, asking questions as I'm asking, I'd be going through the books that are sitting here. God knows Anne Fry would be out there. If I was really concerned, maybe I'd call Heather, but the funny thing about Heather and my relationship is Heather is medically trained and she does fall back on her medical tools. I'm the complete opposite, which is why we go to each other when we have an issue. So I wonder what maybe I would have asked her some questions, and I have no idea what she would have said, but she is more of an interventionist. Yeah, this is how I deal with it. This, you know, the thinker, I sit down and think.
What would the viewers of my
Sorry?
What was the viewers?
The real risk. Oh, okay, what are the risks? Good question. Okay, without understanding what the hell's going on here, the risks. Mother can't, and with any high blood pressure during labor or at all, if the heart is a pump. So if the heart can't keep up, it, like any pump, it burns out, it gives up, the heart stops. So you don't want your mother to die. Yeah, and she's talking about seizures and having spots before her eyes. And I wanted to say before I forget, this is also, I mean, in this case, and that's the reason why I'm asking you to describe the spots to me, is because you can also have mini seizures in your optical seizures. Have you heard of this? Sounds like you've heard of optical seizures.
Migraines.
Okay. Well, I have optical seizures without migraines. They just show up. And they're actually your brain is there's an electrical storm going on in your brain.
Seizures when you don't blood the cell.
I don't. For her and what she's describing, it's more oxygen teapot. That's again, the heart is pumping oxygen. And when it gets too much, your body starts pulling back from certain organs. That's why you start feeling numb, tingling in your feet. It's starting to pull back. Her situation are preeclampsia. These conditions are prolonged and become chronic. It doesn't just happen suddenly within 15 minutes. It's prolonged. And in this situation, we're talking 5 weeks. So at this point, the heart's going, hey, I've had enough of this shit. And the eyes are going, right now, let me see, quick check. Who needs oxygen? Eyes, you don't. So I'm gonna take out oxygen from these things and instead you're gonna have some black spots in your eyes for a minute. So I'm asking you questions. Which one are we doing here? Are you seizing because of this or are you seizing because of that? And yeah, so the concern is she seizes, her heart
Why not
stops.
be a pre-existing condition?
Very good point. She has okay, so she has a pre-existing condition of migraines. Well, I don't know, but it's something I would, if I had somebody that presented like this, I'd start clutching at anything, right? You sit down and you start pulling anything that you can. Well, no, I just remembering how you said that you've always had the spots, and so you know the da-di-da. Oh, okay.
No, I always experienced the spots before. I just know what they are. I've never experienced.
Oh, okay, so this is the first time you saw
That's
spots.
what's- That can be a
A side,
symptom
okay,
of
got,
migraines. So I
yeah.
know of it. I have
Right.
never experienced.
Okay, so
I
that,
do have migraines. I had chronic migraines for a big long.
okay,
So is migraines a pre-existing condition?
I'm not aware. I'm not aware.
It's okay.
I'm not aware of this, yeah. That, I'm not aware if migraines are a pre-existing condition for preeclampsia.
No, it's just, so you consider them a pre-existing condition.
If she told me she had migraines, I would put it on my list of concerns.
Okay.
As you see, we're trying to work it all out. There's a few of us getting our heads together, trying to nut this out right now, and this is exactly what I do. And maybe I'll do it with you guys, or, well, I am doing it with you guys.
That's true. You're preeclampsia. Like,
Exactly, and this is how it's done, and this is how it's done in medical boards, by the way. You think it's any better than this? No, they just have the research from the labs or the women in the hospital, not that they remember anybody's names or numbers. At least I know the numbers. Okay, it's only 6, but anyway. No, but I would add it, I'd throw it in there. You asked me what would I do? Like I said, I bash you with a bunch of questions, look at you very confused for a while, look off into space and think, and go home with a lot of questions and reassure you though. Huh, I got this, you're fine, don't worry. Baby's good, baby's good, mom's good, you're good. Right now. But okay, so moving right along. Yes, I find it interesting that going right along, you went into labor naturally. What's the concern about a premature baby? Premature lungs. So the baby, you want 2 weeks of surfactant to be excreted into the baby so he can start maturing his lungs, so he can get out there and take a good breath and not collapse. So even though at 36 weeks, he could, without question, our issue, our trauma, inflated his lungs. So in that period of time, while your baby is getting your body has said, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. I can't keep this up any longer. You're aware, and even if you weren't aware, your body, your placenta, and your baby are talking to each other. So your body is getting the message, I can't do this much longer. It tells the placenta and the uterus, okay, well, let's start secreting surfactant. We'll give you a bit of time to get better. Okay, you're not getting better. Let's start secreting surfactant so your baby's better. Somehow or other, you get held in there. You treating yourself well, the things you did, you can only imagine, would support your efforts if you continue to not look after yourself and eat bad food. Imagine how much harder this could have been. So immediately the body starts responding naturally and puts everything into place. So both you and your baby go through birth, go through the challenges and deliver naturally. That's my explanation with no facts whatsoever. But that's how it's done. And
That's been my experience too with people who show high liver enzymes, when their liver enzymes are all over the place, the doctors will always advise induction, because they will say, oh, your liver profile is not looking good and you're having too many enzymes and it could lead to HELPs. But my experience has been that when liver enzymes go out of control, the body puts itself in the survival mode and starts the labor, and often babies come out without any problem. So
Krista, can you save that to that article? Can you save it to the group? Because then that way everybody will have a copy of that. But I'll open it, see what it does.
So my question is,
Yeah.
how to stop preeclampsia in the next pregnancy / eclampsia?
I know, and your conversation, because people say they can, what am I trying? Baby aspirin, low dose aspirin to, it thins out your blood essentially and lowers blood pressure. People do, if you have just gestational hypertension, a lot of times in subsequent pregnancy, people take that. So,
Which leads to thinning blood, which
Yes.
leads to not clotting, which leads to potential.
that's the point.
Yeah, I'd have to stop and think about that. I've not heard that. And-
Aspirin is a common, like, blood pressure medication, just like
well, I know it's common for a heart attack. Yeah, I know this is what you give people.
cayenne pepper. Cayenne
For?
pepper is very good for blood pressure. I don't know if you want to take it during pregnancy, but cayenne pepper.
I don't know if I want to do it during a heart attack, but
Is a
hang on, did
natural-
somebody highlight that or did I actually highlight that? Preeclampsia. Can I move you? Okay. Risk increases health, especially at gestation. Okay. It's an important disease. People.
Oh, they don't all have hypertension. No, it doesn't always,
Oh, okay.
50%.
Okay, I will share this to the group and you can have a good look at it. And I have a feeling we're gonna end up with more questions until we do more, or at least in this group, we're gonna have more questions until we do more research. Perfect. So you can, and so again, I want to be creative and do things nicely here. So if we've sat down, Kalindi's gone off and done quite a bit of reading. We pulled up a few things, but actually it didn't get far through like this thing.
Page 2.
We got to page 2.
AIDS. AIDS, that's as far as we
We
got.
got to the aim.
To recognize it. Severe preeclampsia.
Effective response. And intensity.
The patient died, while reading this. Anyway.
Disgusting.
We're discussing it, we'll get back to you. Hang on. Okay, so
I mean, one study I looked at said that preeclampsia will lead, but anywhere between, I kid you not, this is the statistic, I will find it, between 5 and 80% of people who previously had preeclampsia will get preeclampsia or eclampsia in the second pregnancy.
From 5 to
5
8.
to
It's been
80%.
all.
Yeah.
5 to 80. Okay, I just kind of thought of that statistic.
Yes.
I just thought of that statistic. 5% to 80%.
I will look it up. It was a thingy specifically. on
In other words, it's not worth mentioning that statistic. That's a dumb statistic. So, all right, so I'm going to do something. I'm going to send this. It's a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to send it off to you guys. And then there are questions. There's the final. I'll let you see what it looks like if I can find it. Probably can. Review.
That's the case study.
Yeah, it was already open.
You're saying the breast also as
But why do we have this equipment here?
It's
What's up with the equipment list?
Um,
This is for preeclampsia.
and eclampsia.
Recognition workshop. Why do I need a cannula? A laryngeal airway. I don't even know what the sucker is.
No, do you know what this is?
Or a thing, well, to look down. That's
Comment?
like resuscitation.
This is, we used to do, role play. The idea was that women should do role play. If I remember correctly.
But
Yeah,
all
that's what
that
it says on the
equipment.
box. It's like someone could be a performer. I'm sure the group is rotating. But yes, it's about role.
What's being discussed?
That's the presentation of people.
This is preeclampsia, but I can't, okay, it says preeclampsia and eclampsia recognition workshop. And then it says the equipment list, which is pretty odd.
I mean, preeclampsia was pretty far into the course.
So I'll look at this, but I'll send the other thing. I'll look at this, and if it's appropriate, I'll send it, maybe just the first page, I think. I think I'll send the first page so you understand,
Second page. Is the second
because
page
it's actually the case study. But would it have all the
Expect.
yeah, so I'm not supposed to,
So send the history, because that's what you want, case.
Yeah.
History, the patient age 19, because that's the other thing, it's under 20 and over 35 is like the group that gets preeclampsia.
read even before 18 and under 40.
actually, this is almost you, without the age. You're what?
28.
20, yeah, except the age.
Like it's mean all women.
Yeah.
Women.
All right, so.
Maybe something happened, body or wound. And it tries to, what to say?
Push it out.
People say.
Yeah,
a lot of
maybe
people
not
reject it,
connected
there
with
is no
liver, maybe not
placenta.
connected, trying to
That's
reject
what people
it.
say, placenta. What in the placenta?
Something's rejecting something in the.
Yes,
Well,
and
we
Because
can
of
what's-
blood flow, what's happening.
Okay, so we have a commonality, and again, it goes back to the original term for all this, which was toxemia. Which is anemia, meaning blood, toxic blood. So they're saying, and they're concerned being that the liver did not cleanse something from the blood, so it remains toxic to the mother. And then affects the baby.
Because then the placenta is not working properly and the baby's not getting.
I wonder, so there's, you might want to investigate placentas.
Yeah.
What about, do you remember your placenta at all?
Is normal, is, I assumed it was pretty small.
Makes sense.
But that's it, like, nothing weird about it.
Right, nothing unusual. Okay. So again, more questions than answers, but that's part of the deal. So yeah, I think there's some interesting articles that we were sharing here. I would like to continue to share that. I would like to continue to spend at least one day a week where we sit down and go over these types of assignments and nut it out like this.
I never watched The Good Doctor.
I do.
This
Okay.
feels like an episode.
Actually, it becomes, that one gets frustrating. And when you watch some, actually, even the other one, here's the other one who reminded me so much of my husband. The grumpy doctor.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's actually a palm, but he does the American accent, I forget. It's just his name, I think. But he's really grumpy but he's really smart and he's really rude.
House?
House.
Oh,
House.
Actor is British.
Yeah, the actor is British, but he does the,
something.
Hillary.
Hugh, that's it, Hugh something.
I love houses.
I do too, it's just like my husband.
A year ago, like, it was a comparison.
Call the midwife too, yeah, call the midwife, it's good.
It's
Yeah, it is, it's very interesting, it's very interesting.
come see a case.
You do see interesting things.
1,200 births and you haven't faced anything like this, or you just are like, it's like, we'll get on board, like, we'll move along with it.
Maybe
That's as close as I've gotten to proper preeclampsia. Like I say, if I see the symptoms, I've always been able to deal with it. Or you start to see symptoms and I don't jump on the bandwagon and think, oh my God, you've got toxemia. I sit back and wait for a bit. I mean, again, I ask a lot of questions and I asked a lot of questions and I came to a point with you of feeling, okay, in this room, I can come to a point and go, okay. And you ask me, what would I do? I'd go home and I'd say, okay, let me look into it, but everything seems okay right now. And again, the problem was solved. When you talk about the good doctor in house, and you're making the point, this is true. And I want to make this point too. This is honest. This is how surgeons and medical professionals and these doctors around the world try to figure shit out.
and
They don't know any more than you do.
So
They don't know. They don't know. They're making it up and trying to think. And he's going off in his cycle, his extreme world, and he's putting things together in his way. But none of us know what the hell, and he's the genius. None of us know what's going on. So in this way, I'd like that you bring this up and point out that, this is how it actually works in the medical world and in our world. And about one thing about the good doctor, I don't know if you notice it, why I can't watch it, is how the medical staff continually manipulate the patients. Have you seen what they do? I mean, actually, that's a great assignment for you people. Watch a few episodes of The Good Doctor and see if you understand. Not House.
House is just like, she's live, fuck wall, I don't listen to any.
Well, actually, and that's true too. Those are good points that he mentions. And all patients lie. Doesn't necessarily mean they're telling lies, but they don't necessarily know the truth. There she is.
You can above her too.
Yeah. How'd you go?
Went for an hour and a half.
Oh, wow, you must be.
More than an hour.
Well, because you're tantalizing. Yes.
Anyway, there were lots of questions and, it's nice,
Good,
Felt like I gave a lot of energy. You just eat something and have a rest out.
Okay.
Sorry to, well.
You don't, not at all. This is Ambika. This is my god sister, Ambika. And this is a bunch of people. Oh, and here's more people. And over here, there's more people here.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I know, you're just famous. Okay, so I'll catch up with you later. What do you have plans?
No. Taste.
Okay.
I know, very soon.
No, House is good too, because he does say everybody lies, and what's true is everybody can be wrong. And when you ask people questions, it can be so relative.
Like, are you drinking enough water? What's the, do you have high blood pressure? What's high?
Exactly. And oh my God, so many things can influence people in their answers.
Oh, yeah. Well, in this situation, the fact is like migraines are a pre-existing condition that you already need to think about. And it's just like, it's not a lie as much as you don't think about it being anything, because it's just life. But that's a lot of houses, specifically houses thingies, are somebody who didn't really think. It's like, but I've always done that. And that's the crux of it's in his cases. We're talking about a TV show now, guys. This is
No, I find learning examples and everything. I'm kind of like the good doctor. Placenta, oh, see. So here they're saying the pathophysiology of hypertension during preeclampsia, linking placental ischemia, which is again, emia meaning blood, so it's been breaking the blood flow, the traffic of blood is becoming kuro. The roads are breaking down. With endothelial, which is skin cells, dysfunction. Okay, so like we said, the placenta's having trouble processing. Yeah, it is.
What do you need high blood pressure?
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Why, what do you need it? Yes?
Okay, so I used to be a much bigger person, more than twice the size I am. I
Yeah.
weighed more, I've lost more than half my body weight.
I remember.
So before, my blood pressure was always 90/60, 90/60. Now I've lost all this weight and now it's higher. It's like 75.
So my company
70,
usually-
75.
People this size they have more high blood pressure, so.
Normally you will see this, but again,
Okay, I was
you
on-
have, this is true too. But this is why it always comes down, and that's why you have these episodes with House. That they're sitting there putting all this, that's why they got that whiteboard, right?
Yeah.
They're writing things down and they're making correlations between this, that, and the other thing. So yeah, I might write this down, I'd write you did this, you did that, but then we can yeah, but that's not the case, so let's take that off, you know?
It's like a math.
It's, and
You have to count and like
it's.
minus, plus.
It's maths, it's understanding chemistry,
Yeah.
physiology,
Yeah.
biochemistry.
Yeah.
Now, that's why they are these studies, so that you can actually, if you need to really figure out what the hell were you doing? You know, you're asking the questions, we're all asking the questions. You want to know what I would have said to you, I can get you so far, but thank God you answered the rest of the problems on your own. What would I have done if I went back to you the next day? Yeah. I don't think, then so far, I don't have anything in your favor.
Yeah, but knowing you would turn around and be like, yeah, we're gonna stick tight for a little bit and we'll like monitor the situation, see how we go. I'll see you.
And then I have just like, that's what I assume, and that's what I mean because of being earlier in pregnancy. So if they had gotten that act earlier, would that be more of a concern or more of a reason to wait longer?
More of a reason to wait.
Inducing even at home. Good or
Oh.
bad, is that creating more stress?
No, inducing in this situation at home is fine. We're not worried about that. If we're messing around with previous or, these things, okay, yeah, I'd rather move. But this is not that kind of issue. Although if something wrong happens with you, it's gonna happen fast. With you, it's gonna go bang. Yeah, oh crap. Yeah.
So there have been a risk with the race if the children have come out, like you said, of the lung issue since the long.
Yeah, because of being early.
Of being early, but
Sorry, here,
sorry?
it's 36 weeks birth early.
Well, it's early on a calendar
Yeah.
and what's expected. But a baby has a good survival rate. And really, that's what we're talking about. At this point, we're talking about survival rate.
It's 9 months.
No, we don't work in months, we work in weeks.
No, yeah.
So 40 weeks, but that's the average. So it's 38 to 42 weeks is the average. And then within that, that's a whole month, which is much of the time that she's messing around taking her her stats, your stuff, vitals. So
And most of the time, you're not get to 41 weeks anymore. At 40 weeks, they start planning when they're gonna.
yeah, but naturally we don't do this.
In 22 they do in C-section, that's.
In Australia, they get to 40 weeks. If you're at 40 weeks, they start discussing with you,
Yeah.
inducing.
Yeah.
And then if you get to 41 weeks, they're like, okay, we have to induce you. And if you get to then it's like 20, 30 years ago, it wasn't like that.
And after.
That's okay.
So, but this are talking about just due dates and it's not really about this, which actually what we're talking about is premature birth and premature labor.
Because of
Surfactant.
induced earlier, or not induced at all, later. So you said not a problem, induced.
I would, induction itself is not the issue. I would sit down and of course, when you spoke to me, you were 36 weeks, so I'm not concerned about the baby.
Yes.
I know the baby will handle it.
So you consider that mother?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm way concerned about her. Yeah, you are the one I'm concerned about. Although if you die, the baby goes with you. Oh, at home, yeah.
Unless she's ready to cut me
Unless I've got that, unless she's got that bread knife, that pizza knife sharpened, I don't, you know. Ooh, that's different. So. I'd be highly concerned and the blood pressure is of concern. Having said that, yeah, you are right. I did send, you know, Odyssey home.
So what's your limit? There we go. What's your?
She doesn't have one, we've
No,
discussed.
I do talk to you. I will talk to you. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? I will ask you how you're feeling. I will be looking, and that's the other thing. I'll be looking at you and your body. And I'll be running an assessment as I look at you. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at a lot of things. I'm looking at, when you're talking to me, I'm looking at your face. I'm looking at what you're doing with your hands. And if you're nervous, are you stressed? Am I feeling tension in your voice? Am I are kids running around the house and interrupting you while you're trying to talk? And how are you responding to this? So let's say I'm looking at you and you look stressed. You're anxious, and I know you too. You're not an anxious woman. You're pretty calm. So I will add this all up and start thinking. So what are you thinking about this? What do you think? I'm assuming you would have told me that what you have said to me so far. You want to have this baby. I'm thinking you're telling me that you have concerns about the health right now. You, with your knowledge and intuition, are now concerned about the situation. And I will have asked you this, and I would have recognized, I would have seen that as something to pay attention to. I would have heard your story, and I would have heard that you've been dealing with this for some time. So now in hindsight, I can guess, I guess during that time, baby's getting ready to be born. I can throw that in. Will I have guessed that before at this point without knowing? I don't know. Would I have put that into my consideration? I don't know. From now on, I will. You know, you guys put that in I do, in your data box. Yeah. And that's what it is. You build up a data box of data. So I will ask you, I will see where you're at. I will feel how you feel. I will address your emotions, maybe with Bach flowers, maybe with herbs. You were already taking Ayurvedic medicines. Maybe I would have left you alone with just them. Maybe I would have been able to draw out of you how angry you were. Maybe I could have gotten you to break down in front of me. Maybe you needed me to leave, would have needed me to leave or hang up the phone to do it. So this is how I
have a
think.
question. Okay, but I have a question.
Go.
When you heard on the phone what was happening, what was your initial thought?
Preeclampsia.
And then, so you've gotten to preeclampsia, how are you dealing with that?
And I do believe you gave me information. You didn't just say,
It was very brief. It was just like,
My blood pressure is in
I'm
this.
pretty sure I have this time of I am, let's talk tomorrow.
And she told me a couple of symptoms. I believe she told me her
Yeah.
blood pressure,
Sure, the protein.
the protein and swelling.
But that's enough for you to.
It's enough when she says it, yes.
It's enough for you to start, like, okay, it sounds like preeclampsia, you think it's preeclampsia. What is your stepping stone in that?
In that moment, in that time.
Situation.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Theoretical about what you would do if she hadn't had the baby. I'm talking about what you would do after you got off the phone. What was your thought process?
Staring at her message for a while.
Okay,
And yeah,
so what was your, so you
So-
got to the fact that it's preeclampsia, potentially? How are
yes.
you dealing with that situation?
I'm getting ready. I'm waiting till the next day and then knowing I'm getting ready with the questions I'm gonna ask her. And like I just asked her a bunch of questions and those are the answer questions I would have asked her. I did not get off the phone and rush over to her.
No.
And in fact, in true to Kale's style, I procrastinated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what good?
I would have gone over if I was not a procrastinator, if I was young and fit, and that's the part of your question, really. I would have gone over. If she's nearby, but it was the end of a long day.
Yeah.
She lives far away
Yeah.
and it's not an easy drive. And it's hard for me to get about. It's getting late and I have to get home on my own. And I don't remember the weather, but these are thoughts that go through my mind. So I procrastinate. Now, had I been younger, had it been easier or whatever, without those, if you were over there, I might have walked over to you and wanted to sit down and talk to her and have a look at it. As it was when I got off the phone. And I knew I was being slack. I knew I was procrastinating. But I felt okay doing it, though I realized I took a risk. Yeah, I knew I took a risk. Because if you are in serious need, that was slack. Yeah. But I'm talking to her. I don't know. I think I work on my intuitions as well, right? And I only know that I'm wrong when I'm wrong. So I feel like it'll be okay. It'll last till the morning. If she was right here, I would have easily walked over there and checked on her and then started.
Like, oh, I'm just gonna swing by.
I would have just swung by
Okay.
because that would have been easy. If I had energy, because I do, you may find this yourself. As a midwife, at the end of my day, my brain would hum. Do you know what this? I think Mayapur does. Mayapur Dasi does this just with her service. Or some of us are so down, busy and worn out. Or for me, I'm dealing with people day in and day out and day in all day long. And when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you. I'm throwing all my energy into you and absorbing you in your room and everything. All my brain cells are switching on. Those synapses are bouncing all over. And I get tired. And it's actually turning up now. And so I get home and this happens and I will take the lazy way out. If I had more energy, yeah, would have been better to walk over there. And
For
check.
us as students.
For you young students, but you are humans too. You are humans too. And I encourage you to make your choices and decisions. And that's why I'm telling you about my slackness right now. I'm late and you're really pushing me. What would you do? What would you do? What would you do? And you're right to do so because it's really, really important to get it right. And I'm letting you know why I'm allowing myself to slide back and letting you know it's not necessarily a good thing. No, I do run with intuition. I've added a few things into the pot. It's Harini. And she knows her shit, and I kind of feel like it'll be okay. That's true. But it'd be good to look at you because the risk is serious. And when it comes on, it's fast. It's fast and you're dead. And I can't bring you back. It's over. So up to you. What risk you take? That's the risk I took. You're welcome, by the way. That was full sarcasm, of course. But that's what I did. If I was worried. So I have induced babies. I have induced labors. If I felt it, if I felt crap, especially after listening to you, if you broke down and spoke the way you spoke, expressed yourself as I think you must have been expressing yourself, felt the things you were feeling, I might have gone, oh shit, this baby ought to come, huh? So maybe this baby ought to come out. Okay. I would consider then I might move forward on induction, which is my induction. Yeah, my induction. And it can be a lot of different things. I might rule out a few things, like some of the stuff is making love, having sex with you and your condition. I don't know. I think it would have been nice for you and Bhakti to cuddle. I think it would have been really lovely for you to curl up and stop being so strong for a moment. Stop being mama bear for a moment and just fall into those big arms of Bhakti. She's ready. She's having contractions now, you know that? And she's getting contractions right now. Not just that, there's herbs, there's more, stuff we use. So I would try, and good old castor oil too, right? So I do have herbal mixtures. I've mentioned them before. It's just this usual third trimester herbal mixture mashup that I make for women. There are homeopathics I might try. Castor oil is castor oil only works if you're ready to go. It won't work if you're not ready. So that's why I like it. Won't force it.
Castor oil. I was told to use that yesterday to use my period. She just said to massage and rub it. I haven't seen my period in 3 months.
Right.
And she told me to use castor oil, but she was going to give me some other expensive stuff. Ended up 11,000 rupees. No. So I tried to use. I did use that. Period is here. You did. I mean, it came.
So wait, did you take? How did you say you massaged it?
She said she said this is too wide. It should be like this. But she said to massage in a heart shape and then massage the castor oil all the way down.
Okay.
To infuse the period. And I was work for her, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, she started to spot before I did that. And
then it came on.
Now it's pouring out. It's like great. With a doctor, he can do by himself. Her mix I had problem when I moved to Mayapur, 2015. It stopped 8 months. I didn't have period, but I had problem like with over and cyst. Right. And he gave me, and my other friend, she didn't have like 3 months. And in one day, we all drank this masala. No, castor oil. Remember Dr. Sarandon? He was from South India, such a sweet person. He grew this hers by himself, and his wife. He was so nice, and he just made some small masala with 5-6 herbs. After 2 weeks, me and she got like never stopped. No need to 11,000. It was 600 people. Yeah.
Okay, Krista's gone, but okay. Yeah, Krista asked a question I don't have clear. How placenta problems would lead to hypertension. And it's actually the other way around. Hypertension leads to problems with the placenta.
Yes.
So I'll explain that to her and how is it connected to the livers and kidney? Again, it's the other way around. That the livers, well, the liver, yeah, I'll explain it. Yeah, yes, it is very interesting to research.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is very interesting, because as I say, I started this 50 years ago. And we still haven't got an answer.
Yes.
That's very normal in the medical industry.
It's what everyone told me. It didn't help us.
I know it. And then why do we always have to listen to them?
Exactly.
You know, why do they rule?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because even on my, so obviously I sat at home and looked at all the books, read all the things. And nobody has an answer for anything, but it's still such a like panicky
it's being.
feeling for preeclampsia on all, but like majority of is just like, this is super serious if you have, just elevated blood pressure like a couple times and like, it's very, people are very quick to jump.
Very quick to jump. I'm very quick to,
Even
as
though
soon
there
as
is not that much research.
I'm quick to raise a flag and pay attention. That's what I do. If I see something out, I'll raise a flag and pay attention to it. And I don't even necessarily say anything to anyone else, but I might make a note in the chart or keep it in my brain. And if you can find it. I'll be Buddha and coconuts. You found it? I thought so.
Such a nice connection.
Hey, Buddha. Okay. Okay, sorry, I just didn't see it. Hang on. Okay. I do. I'm sorry. Okay. No, I'm okay. Okay, coconut and yeah, 2 coconuts and some sugar cane and up. No, that's it. Okay, season. Not yet. I will soon. Okay. Jai. Okay. No worries, I will. Thank you. Haribo.
And then everyone else.
I'm in trouble again. Oh.